Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. How is everybody doing? My name is Jeremy Hubble, and I am going to be taking you on this little journey just for this summer, and actually just for the next 2 weeks, where I talk about Ecamm features and features that I think are important for you to understand, for you to use, and get a chance to, just kind of dabble around in the interface. Ecamm is such a deep product, and sometimes just getting a quick little tidbit of info is more than enough to set your course of the day and kind of play around for a little bit. So I figured I'd start these. It is it is 6:30 in the morning where I am in the Pacific Northwest, and this is my summer. Let me see if I can pull up a shot here. Yeah, that's what I see outside the window right now. And it is, well, I don't have the current temperature, but I believe it's it's 48 degrees. Yeah. So this is summer in the Northwest. And so I'm dressed kind of inappropriately to go outside, but it's nice and warm in here because I've got, as you'll be able to see here, I've got one, two, and if you follow me over here, I've got a third monitor plus my teleprompter all laid out. And so I've got plenty of things to keep me warm, including the lighting here. So the purpose really is, to just take little bits and play with them. 15, 20 minutes tops, really. So if you're catching this on the replay and this is, December or whatever, you're going to get that. You're going to get the 15, 20 minutes of me just kind of chatting about a feature, doing that feature. And for those folks that want to comment, let me see, I'm just going to pull up my comments window here because all right. So I've got comments up and everybody is clearly sleeping. It is a Monday morning. So I'm not, and I didn't really necessarily expect a ton of people to be logged on. But if you are awake in for future episodes, please join me. And because we are, because we are a couple of weeks past the release of Ecamm for Zoom, that means that I can actually bring in Zoom guests for the show. And that, I think, is going to be fun in terms of talking about features that you may have questions about. So it'll be kind of a live call-in show after I'm done, assuming anybody's on. If nobody's on, that's fine. I hang up. We're all good to go, and you can go about your day and come back and watch this at your leisure. And I do want to stress something, though, and I think that this is pretty important for this show, is that I'm not tech support. So I'm not going to answer questions that get deep down, like I'm having a problem with blah. Excuse me. If there is something that I feel more people could benefit from by going through it, and also, it'd be nice if I had the answer, I can go through those questions. But in the event that I don't have that answer, then I will more than likely just direct you to support, or I won't say anything about your question. So try and keep those questions relevant to the topic that we're discussing today, which, by the way, is talking about green screens. And then if you have any questions, and I have some time at the end, I'll try and answer things. It really just comes down to timing. But I want to make sure more people benefit from me talking through the show here as possible than to get mired down in one particular person's, whatever it is they've got going on. So, all right. So today, green screens. Green screens, they kind of have a bad rap, and rightly so. Green screens are one of those things that can be used in the event that you're trying to create an environment that doesn't exist and put yourself in it, or put something else in it, live action shot. So let's say you've got a really cool background of, some kind of studio setup or something like that, but you don't have the studio, right? You can use a green screen to project what might look like a background that is coming from that studio. So if you're doing, again, product shots or any environment that doesn't exist in your own studio, assuming you have a studio, that, this helps you cheat a little. And it's not necessarily cheating in a bad way. It's just that you are pretending that there's something behind you in the shot that's not really there. And it's used all the time. It's used in Hollywood, it's used in video. The problem comes in is that although Ecamm supports green screens and most streaming apps support green screens, chances are they're being used incorrectly by the majority of people. And that's, there's no lessons necessarily on how to use green screens. And I've seen some Ecamm customers who are just a completely, best way to put it is they are far and beyond anything that most Ecamm users would ever do, which is fine. I mean, it's totally fine. That's they had an entire room is painted green, for instance, and that's not what most of us are going to do. But my other reason for covering this topic is because I made a comment on my own personal Facebook page that virtual backgrounds should be taken out behind the shed and dealt with accordingly. And most people agreed with me, but there's obviously a few folks who see it other way, and here's why. Virtual backgrounds are working with a limited set of data, of information that they're trying to process depth. The software is trying to process depth. So in most cases, most people don't even have a green screen when they're using a virtual background. So it's trying to analyze what is in front of you, who the subject is, and then what's behind you. And let's face it, sometimes it just looks like hell. And some of the stuff is just, it's awful out there. And that, to me, in a meeting where you're trying to look professional, or you're trying to put on a presentation that's not distracting, that when you see this kind of weirdness around your body because it's blurring sometimes and not blurring other times, it looks terrible. So this is a way to get the results that you want, because you're effectively creating an environment where there's no any kind of why am I, well, it's 6:30 in the morning. This is why I'm probably at a loss for words, but there is definitely no question as to what it is that you're trying to key out, right? So by introducing a green screen, you can completely remove that. Now, something else about green screens you have to be careful about is this. Obviously, if you have green eyes, or if you're wearing green, you will, I'm not wearing green on purpose, but you will appear transparent. You will appear somewhat ghost-like, and that's not a good effect either. Some places combat that by having blue screens, which Ecamm also does support. And a blue screen works, similar principle. It's just that anything that is within blue is going to be what is keyed out, or which is made transparent. So I'm going to give you some ideas on the features of Ecamm, and you'll get a chance to take a look at what it is that we use to control, to fine tune these settings. All right. So first things first, you need a green screen, and I've selected one. I've had it for so long now. It's from Elgato. It is just their pop-up screen. Some people use green tablecloths or green fabric that they get at the local fabric store, which works most of the time. The thing that you have to be careful with is that you want to make sure the screen is taut, right? There's not a lot of wrinkles in it. So you really have to make sure that whatever it is you're doing, the screen itself is nice and taut so that those wrinkles don't cause any kind of undesired results in the keying process. Okay. So the Elgato product is great for that. They are taut. They are, they kind of look like projector screens. You pull it tight and then you collapse it when you're done. So, and it works. It works great, actually. So here, what I'm going to do is two things. I'm going to create a virtual background that's using the actual background behind me right now. And then I'm going to also I'll throw in some other backgrounds just so you can see how it looks. And then we're going to tweak some settings with lighting. Lighting is super, 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 super important for green screens. So you have to make sure that if you're going to use them, that the lights that you use in your studio, after you've decided where you're going to put your green screen, that green screen is well lit and is far enough behind you to where the lights themselves don't bleed onto you, and then the reflection of the green from the screen doesn't go forward and light you up and give you soft edges as a result of that. So, all right. So first things first, there's a great feature inside of Ecamm. Let me go into live demo mode here. And yes, it can access. Continue to. Okay, so one quick note. I am running Ecamm. I'm living on the edge right now. So this is Ecamm beta. This is after the Zoom release. So this is by the time, it depends on when you get this. Not this Mac. I don't care about this Mac. I mean, I do, but I don't about Ecamm Live. Okay, so this says 4.3.2 beta 1, which I'm guessing by the time this series is over, that will be already old. And I'm also running the very first developer beta of macOS Sequoia. So I'm introducing potential things that may come up on my screen that may not come up on yours if you're not running beta software. I've been in the software industry for 30 years, and I'm used to little glitches here and there, so it's no big deal. All right, so now with that out of the way, of course, if you've not done this before, there is a feature inside of Ecamm that allows you to take snapshots, right? And that's going to be under recording and then save photo. So I'm not sure. We'll see if this recording save photo, right? So this is what we're going to use to take a snapshot of the background. The problem with this feature is that there's no built-in timer. So let's say you're doing a save photo. It would be great. There's ways around this, but it would be great if Ecamm had this feature where you could set like a 3-second timer, just timer, no timer, that something like that. But that doesn't exist. However, if you have a Stream Deck from Elgato, you can program in a delay and then press that button. And when you press that button, it will then initiate that delay, however long you want, and then run that command, the live, the screenshot command. So if I go to my Elgato Stream Deck, and yeah, of course it's on another monitor. So if you see me moving stuff around, comments I'm just going to get rid of now because I'm not answering any questions or anything at the moment. All right, so under Stream Deck, I've set up in one of these pages, there we go, screenshot. So the icon I believe that's an icon you can download from this or for the Stream Deck from Elgato. I don't know. You can find these little icons all over the place. I put a camera in there just to have it as something like instantly it would trigger. The thing about the Stream Deck Plus, which is what I'm operating, is that it's got 8 buttons, and then these little circles underneath are actually dials. And they all have their usefulness. I would love to have, say, a Stream Deck with twice as many buttons and even still the same number of dials, because the dials themselves have limited functionality in my mind, at least. But anyway, I digress. I will talk about Stream Decks, I'm sure, in one of these Summer of Live sessions that I do. So I created what's called a multi-action, right? So you see multi-action here, multi-action switch, and a random action. Well, we don't want it to be random, that's for sure. What's the difference between a switch and a multi-action? Multi-action means it's just going to execute a series of commands. A multi-action switch means it has 2 states. So the first state, when you press, it'll execute all the commands in the first state. And then it'll automatically go into standby mode for state 2, which you would press again, and then it would execute the commands in state 2. Meaning the easiest way for this is like a light switch. So you have a command that is light on when you press the button, and then it's waiting for you to press it again to turn the light off. So that's, again, we're not doing that because we just want to issue a command, but we want to do a series of commands. So I created a multi-action right here. And then, so you see here, it says multi-action, right? And then if I step into this, I can show you what I did. So I created a delay, 3-second delay. 3,000 milliseconds is 3 seconds. And then I did something here that I just do as a safety measure, and that is I tell it to open up Ecamm. Now, if Ecamm's already open, this command is just ignored. But believe it or not, if you're outside of Ecamm, if you're doing something else and you hit this button, it will fail because what it's doing is it's trying to execute a hotkey command. And if that hotkey command is trying to be executed in another application that has what they call the focus, the one that's lit up in your menu bar on your Mac, it will fail if that hotkey doesn't exist. And then moreover, it wouldn't work in Ecamm. So I tell it to open Ecamm, and then I issue the hotkey command, right? So the system hotkey is Shift Command G. I am 100% with Doc on this one. If you don't know Doc Rock, he's a personality at Ecamm, manager at Ecamm that's been doing these shows for a while, and he's also been a Mac user as long as Dirt, and so like me, and so it's usually Command Shift G, but you know, somebody at some point said no, the Shift key is going to go first. So, but I digress. All right, so you can see here system hotkey. So where am I getting these from? Well, if you look off to the right here, these are your commands, and then these are the list of available commands. So I just tell it, for instance, if I want to do a delay, I can type in delay right there. And you see the delay. I can search for certain commands. So I'm telling it delay, and I put that in. And then I can, same thing, I can type in open, and you can see there's the open command, and then finally hotkey. And why am I doing it like this? Because it just lets me pick it real quick. You know, I know what I need, and I don't want to go scrolling through a bunch of commands, because the more plugins you install and the more applications you're tied to, the longer that list becomes, and it's kind of a pain to set up. So if you know these things, it makes it easier to just kind of build these buttons very quickly. So I tell it Shift Command G, and if you look inside of Ecamm there, Shift Command G. All right, so this is how you build a delayed button, right, that you use a Stream Deck. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to step out of the frame, and I'm going to press this button. I'm going to step out of the frame and then come back. And then I'll basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a photo, and then we're going to start using the green screen. So here I go. Okay, so my photo was saved, and I wonder that, let me see this. Did I save it with live demo mode on? And what is it taking a picture of? This is going to be a fun one to find out. All right, so let's go. We're at Ecamm, Ecamm video, and we're going to go here. Oh no, we don't want that. Okay, so I'm gonna take it. It's a great screenshot, but what I want is I want the screen itself. So let me go back into Ecamm, and we will turn off live demo mode. Okay, so now you should see just me, and I'm gonna step out again, and we'll take a picture. Okay, I'm pretty sure that one worked. Let's see here. All right, so here I am. So green screen's behind me, and I'm sorry if the mic was on mute before. I'm sitting here trying to dial in certain microphones and certain sources. So if I was on mute for any reason, my apologies. So here I am, and I've got the green screen behind me, but obviously you can see this side's lighter and this side's darker, right? This is not going to work, and I'll show you in a second. So if I go, like, the default for Ecamm, if I want to go into green screen mode, is this beach scene here. Right now, this is actually kind of working, except that now my key light and my fill light don't really match the scene. That's not going to work, obviously. But how did I enable that? Well, if you go into your camera switcher and see here, I zoom in, and you can see I just selected my first camera here, and then I said select backdrop, and there's some defaults that are built in, right? So for those of you who just say, I don't want anything, I just want it to be white, you could do white wall like that. Now, the problem with that is you can see that darkness is going to get us, and I'm going to show you how to fix that in a second. So since the theme is Summer of Live, we'll leave it like this. And, you know, I would probably mess with, for instance, I'd probably have like if I'm trying to mimic the fact that I'm on the beach, I would probably do something with the lighting in general, just to kind of maybe move things around, and maybe have, you know, for instance, this side would be darker, which it kind of is right now. and then this side would have like more of like a sunlight white that would be hitting me, and maybe a bit brighter too. And then I put on sunglasses because you got to look cool. All right, so underneath there, you can see here, underneath the, so if I select the camera and I choose green screen, so here's green screen off, green screen on, and I don't know why the backdrop did not kick in automatically, but there we go. Okay, that's interesting. That should have just come on. So you'll see there's green and blue. If I type in, if I do blue, now you see my shirt actually has a little bit of navy in it. And so this is what's happening. And if I were to broaden that out a bit, you can see that I'm starting to, anywhere where there's any kind of blue in the image, that would cause this issue. So I'll go back to green, and I still have to fix this because it's too dark. I can also do transparent. So if you have a background in Ecamm, and this is, there we go. If you have a background in Ecamm that you like to use, you can do that. So this is the background I use for the Basecamp website and logo and everything. And by the way, if you are watching, please head over to basecamp.pro and make sure to hit the like and subscribe button while you're here watching the rest of the video. So I don't want this. I am going to switch, and now what I'm going to do is pick a different background. And what I want, you can just drag and drop. Let me see here. Go back. There we go. And it's going to be under, sorry, I got a bunch of stuff here. And it's Ecamm video. All right, so here is my background. So now drop that in, and now it looks like I'm back in my studio with a little bit of funkiness going on here. Again, I'll show you how to do this. Now, why would you want to do this? Why would you want to recreate what's already behind you? Because you can see if I do this, you see the ripples? Yeah, I'm using the green screen right now, but this is a great way. For instance, if you want to turn off your lights or completely rearrange the lighting in your set, and you like this background, but you want to do some other things and you have limited lights, well, this is a good way to do it. You take a picture of what works. This is a big one. None of these lights are going to go out. So if you have any kind of battery controlled lights or battery powered lights, if the battery runs out, they're not going out when you have a static shot like this. You can use an animation if you wanted to. I tend to avoid those because when you're editing video, if there's any kind of motion and you have set it up so that you can cut at a certain point and then jump, and then cut out a portion of whatever it is you're doing in that video, the lights or whatever, like these two lights that I've got on the side here, they have almost like a lava lamp look, or they, Kit from the, Knight Rider show. You can do all kinds of fun stuff with those lights. But if they're not exactly in tune or at the right spot where they are in their animation, it's going to, that part will jump and you'll look fine, and it distracts the viewer. So you want to make sure that if you're going to do this, that probably running with a static light is better than not. Okay, so I'm going to switch over to my Osmo here, and then I'm going to actually switch over to my my wireless mic. So hope the audio may change a little bit. I tried to keep it as close as possible, but stuff happens. So here we're going to go. So here I'm at my Osmo, and now I am on the wireless mic from DJI. So you can see the lights here, right? Let me see if I can see the shadows and all this fun stuff. Well, what I also have, let's see if I can take this off here. All right, so I'm on my webcam here, and I'm gonna flip it around, and you can see I've got this light. This is a Elgato key light. I'm gonna turn it on there, and you can see it lights up the green screen, right? And that's cool. That's what we want. We want it to light it up like that, right? Now, if I go over to my other side, I've got another, you can see it over there in the background. I'm gonna turn that guy on. And so now what I should have is, yeah, it's pretty well lit. So let me turn off green screen. Yeah, I still have some dark spots here and there, but you can see now we don't see a lot of fuzziness, right? The lighting looks very similar, and that's what we want. And so we get, let me turn off live demo mode here. And then what we get is the look that we want. So now, again, go back to, I'll turn off the green screen feature, you can see. So you can see I've got the lighting here. There's some shadowing here. I built these egg crate attachments for the key light from Elgato, mainly because I wanted to have it so that I was really, I wanted to focus my light. If I take that off, let me take that off. If I take that off, you can see that it lights up much better now, right? But I don't really need it. And now you can see this, right? So now I'm illuminated differently from what it looked like before. And so if I turn on that green screen feature again, you can see I'm there, but now look at this. So it's like, well, what you telling me that this light right here is causing this? Doesn't work, right? So this is where lighting comes in. It's pretty key. You want to, the reason why I have those focus, those egg crate focus elements on there is so that it keeps the light, from spreading out all over the place. So let me go back, and I'm just going to turn, well, let's see, what are we going to do here? I'm going to go do this. So we're going to put it back. And voila. Now we are back to normal. But now also I have my green screen is kind of dialed in, I guess. And so I can go through, and there's other backdrops you can select, like here's bricks, right? That doesn't look half bad, right? You got a little bit of fuzziness down in the lower right corner of the image, and you can tweak that just ever so much. But you have to be careful. This is why having good contrast in your image really helps. Even this, you could take your, like the light that I just had that was coming through, I could take that off and it would make it look like I'm in this studio, even though I'm not, right? And maybe this is a look you're going for. So you take your green screen with you and you go set up anywhere, and you have this backdrop to take with you. It looks great, and once you've got it dialed in, it's super simple. The thing that you have to be careful about, let me see if I can pull up an image here. I have, I just want to show you the how it's working. Let's see if I've got a way to pull this up. Yeah, let's see. If I drag this in. Okay, so you see here the way that it's working inside of Ecamm. So I've got green screen selected, right? So imagine this little dot here over here. Now, as I take the slider that's called the fade level, what I'm doing is I'm increasing or decreasing this range around pure green so to include more shades of it. Obviously, the further you get outside of that pure green, the more you're going to encompass. So I can do that or do that. And that's basically altering, you know, if you had to do like a pie chart almost, right? This is opening and closing that pie chart. That's what it's doing. So hopefully that makes sense. It's pretty straightforward, but again, the keys to lighting your green screen correctly is what's going to give you the most believable look. So make sure your lighting is good first. If you can avoid it when you're doing anything on a green screen, avoid using light from the outside unless it's like that time of day or it's overcast, kind of like it is right now in Bellevue where I am. Yeah, 48 and cloudy. Yeah, that's lovely. If that's what it is looking like, you know, you probably are going to get away with a nice even light tone. But, you know, chances are if you are also spending some time dialing this in, and if the sun starts breaking in during your meeting, you're going to get these weird shadows and these weird light casts on your face, and your background's going to be static and it's going to look weird. Even worse is if certain parts of your background, your green screen, are lit more brightly than others through the course of the sun passing through the clouds outside the window. It's going to impact the green screen's effectiveness. So keeping control of that stuff, you know, I know it's hard to do when you're traveling on the road and things like that, but please, 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 please get away from the blurry stuff. And look, hey, there is a feature inside of this particular green screen option here, there it says blur background, and I can do that, and now I can dial that up, and you can see now I get a nice blurry background. So you could do it this way, and look, it's nice and crisp around the edges. There's no like weird funkiness around my hair, and even if you've got like strands of hair, like you've got curls going on or something like that, it's going to be, I got a helmet head, but for those of you who have hopefully more hair than I do, you're going to see, a little bit more. Hopefully you'll see a little bit more like detail than you would get if you were using that blur feature that's built into. And I don't want to knock like Zoom, because they're a great partner for Ecamm and they've really changed the game. But as far as like these virtual backgrounds, some of them are they're terrible. They're terrible. So I don't, like I said, I didn't expect too many folks to join in today, and I don't have anybody on YouTube. Let me see. I'm just going to drop in the LinkedIn real quick here. And I don't, let's see. Well, let's see. I don't see any questions there. I think I'm in the right spot. Yep. I'll I'll pull it up just to make sure.
Let's see.
Yep, no comments there. Okay, and then lastly on Facebook.
There.
I know normally I'd see the Facebook comments. Okay, well, I don't see anything there either. So we'll go ahead and leave it at that. And like I said, I'm going to be doing this every morning. This will be about 6:30 in the morning Pacific time, which you can do the math for your particular time, but 6:30 Pacific, which means 9:30 Eastern, and some like late afternoon in Europe and like, UK and stuff like that. And Asia, I'm sorry you're sleeping. I can't control everything, but you can watch it on the replay. And if you want to participate, you want to ask questions, the best way to do that is simply just ask the questions in YouTube down at the bottom. And again, please remember to like and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. That helps me with YouTube. And then also head over to basecamp.pro. I've got a full series there of product reviews as well as lessons on Ecamm. So it's a great opportunity. If you're looking to pick up Ecamm, that's the place to go. So thanks a lot for joining me. I appreciate it. And I will see you, well, for those of you watching live, I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.
They're here.